We're going to be looking at some screen caps here today of the 1989 creature feature Alien from the Deep, directed by the legendary Antonio Margheriti, credited here as Anthony M. Dawson, as is typical of his features. One part Ridley Scott's Alien / James Cameron's Aliens, but also one part James Cameron's The Abyss, seemingly. I suspect so, especially due to it being released the same year as Cameron's The Abyss. What we have is this creature feature sort of genre bash, needlessly well directed by Margheriti, featuring Charles Napier, famous for appearing in Rambo First Blood Part 2, I believe. And what we also have is one of the more remarkable instances of it matters who is at the helm on your set. Any other director would have directed absolute slop. Look at these screen caps in isolation. Some of these are very impressive. Antonio Margheriti knew how to direct a film. Now, to be fair, you might not have known this if you're watching these films on television or VHS or on a DVD, but via the Blu-ray transfers of these films, we can see how beautiful and considered they always were, and how, just the shoddy transfers for VHS or even for DVD just really didn't do these films justice for decades, as it were. It's quite unfortunate. Well, justice. This is what it is, although we can see that there is a prowess here. There is a craft to these old school 20th century genre films downstream of, James Whale / Jacques Turner, if you will. Apparently there used to be a website dedicated to Antonio Margheriti, which had some contribution, was run by his son, Eduardo Margheriti. This is its entry for the web page for Alien from the Deep in particular. This is Eduardo Margheriti's write-up. Antonio will touch science fiction for the last time with this fantasy adventure film of horror hues and an ecological background, Alien degli Abissi. The favourite theme is always that of the Earth in danger, but this time by the inhabitants of the planet themselves, who by throwing radioactive and nuclear waste inside an active volcano not only attract a monstrous and aggressive alien creature, but also unleash the fury of nature risking self-destruction. After making a film on the systematic destruction of the Amazon rainforest, Indio, Antonio returns to deal with a burning issue of our days, but he does it in his own way, dealing with serious topics almost casually, artfully inserted in the folds of a de-entertainment between an action scene and a special effect, letting the audience have fun during the film and perhaps making them think after watching it. I've Google translated into English what was initially Italian text, so bear with any clumsiness here. This film also marks the last collaboration between Antonio and his friend Gianfranco Cujumjian, producer of many of his films from the 80s, L'ultimo cacciatore, Escape from the Maledetto Archipelago, The Hunters of the Golden Cobra, fun film that, Tornado, Wild Rainbow, and Alien degli Abissi. Together, they had also prepared other films in the 90s, but the collapse of the foreign market had not given them the opportunity to be able to make them. I was unable to participate in the making of this film, even though we got to meet and talk about it both during preparation and shooting in the Philippines, because I was busy with my first direction, The Black Cobra 2, an action cop always filmed in Manila. I couldn't even follow the special effects for the alien creature, clumsily built by a handful of local technicians. I often pointed out to him jokingly that he missed me. Eduardo Margherita. And also included on this webpage is an excerpt from the book Dans Macabre by Fabio Giovannini. The titles and contents of Margheriti's films invariably allude to great American commercial successes. In the case of Alien degli Abissi, the reference is to Ridley Scott's film Alien, the monster imitates the famous creature, but also to James Cameron's Abyss, 1989, and there is no shortage of quotes from classics of the genre. According to Antonio Tentori in Incredible Worlds, Granada Press, Bologna, 1994, in fact, the sequence in which a young man wounded by the monster finds himself contaminated with an arm transformed into gelatinous and pulsating matter would be a quotation from The Atomic Spaceship of Dr. Quatermass, 1956, by Val Guest, the first science fiction film from the famous English production company Hammer. I assume they mean the Quatermass experiment as an old translation. Or Quatermass 2. Presumably the first one, though. Anyway, I think that's all for today. Have a great day, night, wherever you are, but everyone is as well as they can be, as they ever could be. Thanks again, my friends. Have a great one.